Hey everyone. So 2 days ago there was an announcement that there's going to be a new Avatar game released for mobile. It's developed by a Chinese developer. I think they're backed by Tencent. And there was a bunch of cool promotional art released. Thanks to the Avatar wiki for getting all of this and cleaning some of the images up. I just thought I'd point out a few things that I thought were interesting from the images. The first one being this militarily equipped avatar, or at least I'm assuming that that's what it is, and I'll give you evidence a little bit later in the video as to why I think this is definitely an avatar and not just a pure Na'vi. The other thing that I found quite interesting on this initial promotional image was this section over here with the kind of rock structures. They look very much more almost metallic than I think that the ones that we saw in the movies. That if you've ever done the experiment where you see a magnetic field using some kind of metal, these seem to mimic that much more than I think what we saw in the first movie. Then onto the second image is one of an RTA base, which again we see things like the Samsons, the dragon shape, but we also see some things that we might not have seen that much of in the past. The crane, for example, I don't think it was shown very much in the original movie. And over here, some eagle-eyed people have spotted that on this building it says AVTR program, as you can see, which adds again to that whole thing that maybe we're gonna see a lot more of the Avatar program in the sequels, and at least in this game. The next image, again, that I thought was really cool and very reminiscent of the final fight in the very first film, is this. One of the things, again, that gives massive evidence is that I'm pretty sure this thing has four fingers and a thumb, which means it would be an avatar. The avatar's having 5 fingers in total, and interestingly fighting a member of the RTA in an amp suit. One interesting discussion I saw on the Discord server was around how an amp suit actually jumps, and I think that's quite an interesting question, especially given that we don't really know, because obviously if moving your arms around, you just move your arms around, but to jump might be a different thing entirely, maybe a button press. Then there's this very beautiful piece, a very, I guess, typical image of something that you would expect to see on Pandora, the bioluminescent forest. There's this again, not as interesting I think as the others, but still beautiful nonetheless. We've got some of the floating mountains. This piece here is for me the most interesting. I think these two standing here, I think we might have seen this kind of silhouette before. It's very similar to a couple of pieces of the promotional art for the world of Pandora, and the bit that really stands out for me though is obviously this huge desert biome, something we haven't even glimpsed in the original movie, but I think it looks fantastic. The floating kind of mesas here, very similar to the floating mountains we've already seen, but obviously something much more akin to what we would see in the Grand Canyon if it was here on Earth. And the art style as well is very evocative of some of the pieces that we saw in James Cameron's most recent art book, the kind of 70s and 80s really olden style, in the sense of olden style sci-fi, those kind of colours, which I really thought was cool. This is brightened by people over on the wiki, so again thanks to them for sharing these images and pulling them from the website. So yeah, that's what I kind of thought of these Avatar Reckoning promotional images. I'm quite looking forward to the game. I really would have preferred to see something that relates to Avatar 2, but yeah, let me know what you thought of the announcement, and if you're excited for the game in the comments, and thanks for watching.